Mrs. Thatcher is to resign as Prime Minister. A short while ago, Downing Street confirmed she's to step down and will not be contesting the second ballot for the leadership. In a statement, Mrs. Thatcher said, I have concluded unity of the party and prospects of victory in a general election would be better served if I stood down to enable Cabinet colleagues to enter the ballot for the leadership. The announcement was made after a meeting of Cabinet ministers earlier today. Mrs. Thatcher is to seek an audience with the Queen later this morning. We shall be staying on air from now on to bring you the latest developments, all the latest information as we get it. The Labour leader Neil Kinnock has already spoken. He said it was good news. Mrs. Thatcher's resignation will become effective when a new leader is elected. This all followed a cabinet meeting this morning at which it was expected there would be pressure on Mrs. Thatcher, but not the sort of pressure we've now seen. There's Douglas Hurd, the Foreign Secretary. There are strong suggestions that he might take over, but we don't have any information about that at the moment. As I say, information is still coming in. With me, I have Richard Bath, who's been looking at the background of some of these events. First thing, Richard, tell us a little bit there about the actual statement that Mrs. Thatcher made.
Let me first tell you, what this does, of course, leave wide open is whether another minister will now enter the race and will contest the second round of the ballot against Michael Heseltine, or will Michael Heseltine go on to take over the leadership? That is what we don't know yet.
Indeed. Right. Now, from Mr. Kinnock, can you hear me clearly?
I can indeed.
Good morning to you. What is your reaction to the news that Mrs. Thatcher is about to resign?
Delight. A lot of people, myself included, in Britain have waited a long time for this day. I believe there should be a general election straight away, but nothing can disguise the fact that Mrs. Thatcher's decision gives me great pleasure and indeed reflects credit upon her.
Why do you think she felt it incumbent on herself to resign?
Because, like all party leaders should be, she loves her party. And at the end of it all, when a party has given you just about everything that you've got, and when you've served that party, there is a duty above your own personal interest, or even the instinct to go down with a sword in your hand, as it were, to serve the interests of that party. That's why I respect her decision, and she decided sometime last night, possibly yesterday afternoon, that the only way in which she could serve her party was to quit the leadership. And as I say, I have a certain admiration and indeed fellow feeling for that degree of affection and respect for the party that gives us office.
Now, why are you calling for a general election?
Because the people should now make the decision. That's been the case ever since we've had this particular election contest, because the contest was occasioned by the fact that a group of Conservative MPs knew that they were in deep and serious trouble. That trouble continues, and sought to use the electoral procedure as a way of displacing a sitting Prime Minister who had no illness, not one that was ready to go, to try and resolve their own agonies and their own unpopularity. Now, I think that the new government that would have come as a consequence of this contest is a government that should be chosen by the people. I believe that to be their sovereign right and not the right of a form of electoral coup d'etat brought about for the convenience of party. That's been the case all along. Now I believe, even more strongly, that with the departure of the head of
Mr.
government,
Kinnock, we have to stop
under
there.
these circumstances,
I'm
there should
awfully
be a general
sorry.
election.
Could I just interrupt
Sorry,
you?
Nick.
We have to go to Downing Street straight away, I'm told.
Of the world, and I do not believe we will see her light again.
What decided her to go, Mr. Becker? What decided her to go?
All of the Conservative Party chairman, Kenneth Baker, there outside number 10, giving the reporters a few words. He didn't seem to have much to say, and he looked an unhappy man, I have to say. I'm not surprised, really. We were talking to Neil Kinnock, the opposition leader. We were on the matter of a general election, Mr. Kinnock. You were saying to me, why have one? There is no historical precedent, surely. I mean, if the Conservative Party decide they want a different leader, we have a different Prime Minister for a while, you can challenge him, presumably it will be him, pretty soon?
I'm starting to do that now, for the very simple reason that there will be a new head of government. The new head of government will have come in after the involuntary retirement, indeed you could say the removal effectively of the Prime Minister, and in those circumstances the right of arbitration